They got it done. The Declaration of Independence in 1776. Continental Congress said that we were free.
The President of the Continental Congress and the first signer of the Declaration of Independence in 1776,
John Hancock.
Oh, I don't think we're going to play it during the broadcast. That was for the intro.
That link did not work.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to Discombobulated Winners Lounge.
The Winners Lounge.
Very discombobulated Winners Lounge.
It's a Winners Lounge, though. We don't care.
This was as discombobulated as the Nuggets game tonight, where like I was at home and I'm like, am I driving in today or what? Like, am I supposed to go? Are we playing a game?
Yo, bros, let's get discombobulated, shall we?
Discombobulated. Hey.
It was a win. It was a win.
It was a win. A win's a win, and Nuggets need wins however they will get.
Jeff, what does this feel like? Being in the Winners Lounge.
You know, it's my second time being here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You don't have that many more than
That's
here,
true.
anything like that.
That's true.
All right, so welcome in, everybody. I'm Adam Matas. I'm joined by my esteemed crew here. I've got D-Line Co.
Let's freaking go. A win is a win. A win is a win.
Yeah, that's the energy we
Never heard that
need.
before, actually.
Over here, of course, Superstar Dev.
We're wins. I'm in a winner's lounge.
Oh.
And it feels good to be in a winner's lounge.
In a manner of speaking, every lounge you enter is a winner's lounge, but not in the way that benefits us, because it's always a loser's lounge when you're here.
Exactly, whatever he said. I don't even know what he said. Whatever he said.
And then the man with the wind in his hair, who's already through his interviews and in here, it's Harrison
I'm
Wynn.
just happy to be in a lounge of any kind.
We're happy
This
to
is
have
a
you.
rarity for me.
And we got the DNVR Bar is popping to the extent that it is able to pop.
25%
You hear
popping.
that behind us. A lot of people watching football, but, you know, of course, there was a Nuggets watch party here tonight, and thank God they got the dub because, as the headline indicates, guys, one of the dumbest games you could have possibly imagined.
Yeah, real dumb.
Real dumb. Real dumb. A 10 out of 10 on the dumb scale.
I mean, I can't believe this game was played, but at the same time, I was fully expecting it to be played.
Yeah, that's I know.
It's wild that it was still played. It's wild that Philly had 7 guys available. And their 8th guy was somebody who is just hurt and was never going to play.
Right. Were you upset? Because I saw some people on the timeline, because Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid are not hurt, guys. I'm not reporting this because I don't know for a fact that they're not hurt, but I'm pretty sure they're not hurt. But they were pulled out because, you know, obviously so many players, Steph Curry taken out for the protocols, a couple other players taken out, and I think a coach taken out. Those other guys are around him. Maybe the test hasn't come back. Maybe it's still, you know, germinating, I guess, inside their bodies.
Incubating.
Huh?
I think
Incubating. It's right. Incubation.
You were right
looking
in
for.
that you were thinking it was a germ, but germinating is restricted only to plants.
Thank you.
That's what
thank
seeds
you.
do.
Resident botanist
He's
Eric
a
Weedham.
genius, man. He's a genius.
And by the way, again, waggy you.
Oh, God. Anyway, long story short, they didn't play. Are you guys, I mean, does that bother you at all? It doesn't bother me one bit. I'm going to go ahead and jump the gun here.
Not at all. I don't think that it should upset anyone because regardless, there was a game that was played.
Have you ever been on the internet? People don't need a reason to be mad.
Yeah, it makes their day to be upset.
It really does.
But really, there's nothing to be upset about. They had enough guys that played. They played a game. They had 2 guys sit out. Oh, well.
I got that just
Also,
now, Josh.
do you really do Nuggets fans did they want their 2 best players
Hell
to
no.
play? That's what I'm like. What is
We don't
the
care.
negative about it?
We're stacking dubs. We don't give an F.
If every team sat out a player for the rest of the year, I'd be like, sweet. Nuggets going to
The
be
only
the 3 seed.
guy that might have been a little pissed off by it would have been like Danny Green. Because
Yeah,
Danny Green
teammate
is
or
like,
something.
wait, they can just take the night off, but I got to go out there with Dakota Mathias,
Right.
whatever that dude's name is.
No idea that was a person.
Which,
I
by
got
the way,
to go
yeah.
out there with Paul Reed. Like,
We were
me?
very,
I'm the
very
guy?
surprised to find out that Dakota Mathias was not an Amish furniture maker.
I can't believe I just got that name right. Like,
Dakota
I remembered
Mathias, yeah.
Dakota
And I'm just
Mathias'
sitting here
name.
like, who are you guys talking about?
He was out there for a little bit. So, all right, well, let's talk about big takeaways because the Nuggets do win this one. There was a doomsday scenario where they lost this game, and it was a reverse 7. And then this year just really was a bizarro last year. But, you know, this was a really bad team. Last year when Denver had the 7, they still
Yeah.
had Jokic. They still had Murray.
Yeah.
And then the others. They had a bunch of guys to plug in place. But tonight, this was, I think, a near impossible game for Philadelphia to win. And yes, they came out. Tyrese Maxey had the game of his life, and really overperformed. But Denver was never going to lose this game. I know that's easy to say in hindsight, but we can still talk takeaways. Dev, what's your takeaway?
The biggest takeaway was, trying to get people back. We all wanted Gary Harris. We all wanted Will Barton to play well, and it was a game that they got their rhythm, they got their confidence back, they got to score. When you see shots go in, you see it go into the basket, you're like, okay, now I could try to find a rhythm. All you need is the one shot to go in. We hadn't been seeing that much. So for Gary Harris and Will Barton to get back, I think that was the biggest takeaway of the game.
Yeah, if Gary Harris played another game like Gary Harris had been playing, you would have seen a lot of shots go in. I would have taken a lot of shots. I'm not ready for that.
But that is a big takeaway, the Gary Harris story.
It's Gary for sure. 5 of 8 from 3. His most made threes since November 2018, I think.
Wow.
So almost 2 years, pretty much.
Wow.
And
king of the game. He's
look at
the
him.
king of
Yeah, there he is. King of the game.
21
Gary
points,
Harris.
5 of 8 threes.
So regal.
I think it brings his percentage up to 25%, which I know that doesn't sound great, but it basically doubled his. He was at 14.
Better than Kelly Oubre now.
Better than Kelly Oubre.
Just looking at this now, I think this is the first time I've ever seen Gary wearing a crown.
Wearing what?
A crown. We've never.
That's true.
We've never given
Probably
a king
not
of the
in his
game
wardrobe.
since we've
I don't know
ever
if he was ever.
graphic.
Yeah, so that's
But
true.
Look, I'm not gonna sit here and say, "Oh, Gary's found his shot again." We're gonna need to see this for games, maybe even weeks, to be quite honest, before we can say, "Okay, Gary, is a confident shooter again." But if he can just be a guy who the defense has to guard a little bit,
Right.
Like all his threes tonight were pretty wide open, just from memory.
Right.
Nobody was guarding him. So if he can just be a guy that people respect from 3, that'd be huge.
But with the shots being open, they're open every game.
It's true.
They just aren't falling every game. So this was a game that they failed. It does not matter who they were playing.
Yeah, they're not coincidentally getting more and more open.
And I think that's the biggest thing to take away with the Gary Harris. This was a Gary Harris game no matter who it was he was playing. It didn't matter that he was playing the Sixers. When you see shots fall, open shots fall, it does not matter who it's against. That's what the Nuggets needed, and he did.
I don't want to take full credit for this, but guys, I am wearing my Gary Harris T-shirt today. It's been a while since I've worn it.
I don't
we
see any
an
problem with you
unobscured
taking
view?
full credit, to be
Would
honest.
you mind
Take
moving your
all the
microphone
credit.
so that
Look
the
at
people at
this.
home can see an unobscured
you
view?
see this? Oh, there's the beer.
One beer down, and
Yep.
Yeah, that's a real disaster.
I'd put a mouth on that.
You definitely do. But Gary Harris, so I put this out on Twitter already. This is a disaster of a show. A Saturday show. You just put it back right there, too. You just put it back. Did you learn your lesson?
I didn't want to get the paper towels everywhere,
We did have a rule once that was no beers on these little tables.
Yeah.
Here. That was
It
a
seems
rule
like that
at
was
one
a good
point.
It was a really good rule.
Why would someone come up with that rule?
Because Allie's a stick in the mud. She doesn't want.
Nobody tell Allie.
Yeah.
Nobody tell Allie.
it's-
There's no way she's watching right now. She probably is. She definitely is.
So all right, so Gary Harris, so I put this out on Twitter and people come out in the mentions again because they were just so out on Gary. I said, maybe this gets him out of his slump. And I don't mean this gets him back to 40% shooting. I just mean maybe it gets him back up to making 1 a game. 1 of 5. Let's just get back up to 1 of 5 every now and then, 2 of 5, and that would be reliable because, over the last few games it was that he was making 0. He wasn't making any of them. So hopefully for Gary, that is a sign of things to come because it does elevate. I've talked about this all year, but Will Barton, Gary Harris, to me, those are the X factors. So much is focused on Michael Porter. He's obviously the big one, but the Nuggets need those two guys. And I thought even with Will Barton tonight, he had his moments.
Yeah.
Will Barton is who he is at this point. He's going to take some of those crazy shots that drive us all mad, but he still did a lot of really good things in this one.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It is this thing where it's yes, but a lot for a lot of this because, who we the Sixers obviously had no cohesion with any of their. Give me a break. That basketball game we just witnessed was as close to a rec league game as you could possibly see in the NBA.
It was really close.
But the Nuggets did win, which I felt to be a positive. Gary Harris did hit shots, which he was not formally hitting. The Nuggets didn't look as good as I would think they maybe should have for the circumstances, unfortunately. But Gary Harris did feel you can just see a little bit oh, right, my old friend Gary, there he is, just a little bit.
And you have to think that the Nuggets didn't want to play this game tonight either. And it's hard. Look, I know people are going to laugh at this, but pro sports are tough. Like at the highest level, these guys are really good. And so much of it is mental and being locked in and dialed in. And when you don't know if you're going to play till right before tip-off, even though you're going up against a bunch of scrubs, it's still hard mentally to be like, what am I exactly getting into? And Gary Harris, today in the postgame, he had this quote. He said, we did our testing today. Everybody was negative. The 76ers that played were negative. So it made sense to go out there and play. Now, they might just be – I didn't get to see this quote. Did you see this one? Or
I did hear it, yeah.
Okay. Is he just saying what he needed to say, or does it feel like, hey, they were like, whatever, this is the world we're in?
I think that's legit.
Okay.
I think that's what he thinks. My read on it is the players had less trepidation about playing than like the staffers and the doctors and a lot of people on like Denver's traveling party. I think for the players, they're just looking at it as, look, we've been testing negative. The Nuggets have been, testing negative ever since that Dallas game.
Right.
Everybody that Philly put on the court tested negative. I just think it's like everything happening around those negative tests that's super sketchy right now, and that has everybody on edge.
They are getting tested every day, and this is, or every other day, I think. But
every day.
And every time you get on a plane, and there's like all these protocols, and it makes me think like, I've been tested a few times. I think 4 or 5 times total. No, maybe more than that. I think I've been tested like
there was
8
a while
times.
we were joking that Adam should get a punch card.
Yeah, I get a punch card. You're just testing all the time. But like when you test and you're negative, it's like, oh, like so many people walk around and you don't know, or you're not walking around, you're locked up in your home. So I do imagine that there is a level of ease of like, hey.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are getting tested every day, and when they're flying to a game, like when Denver flew to Philly yesterday, they got tested twice that morning. Everybody took a rapid test, which they get back, and if you're negative,
200.
You can go on the plane, and then they take the PCR test, which is more reliable, but you don't get those results for longer. They took 2 of those, yesterday morning before they flew to Philly. So
hopefully this continues because the Nuggets, obviously they're supposed to play tomorrow. Tonight, the other guy we have to move on to, our guy Nikola Jokic, plus 24, team high. Shocker.
I always think of him as my guy.
Your guy? It's our guy. 15 points, 12 assists, 9 rebounds. For the 3rd time, he has missed the triple-double by 1 rebound.
On purpose, of course.
Of course, on purpose.
Of course.
You would think like points are easiest, but rebounds are second easiest to get. He just keeps coming up shy on that. But
especially with no Michael Porter Jr. in the lineup to steal rebounds from him.
What did you make of his night tonight, Dev?
I mean, I think it's a great night. He just keeps on proving that it's coming easy for him. He doesn't really have to try super duper hard. That was a game that he kind of walked through, and he still was almost a triple-double. He scores when he wants. He directs everything on offense. And if you really look at the trends for him, one game he does all rebounds. The next game he does all assists. Then he gets all points. I think that he really might be able to average a triple-double for the year because he's going after it in different ways. That was a game that he's just like, we know we're going to win. Let me do as much as I can while I'm out here.
Yeah, and we didn't watch it, but we've been told that the 76ers announcers, and it sounds like a lot of you were keyed on this as well, that the 76ers announcers were really unimpressed with Nikola Jokic, which actually fills my heart with joy because they know that he is an absolute threat to their beloved Joel Embiid.
You get it, right?
You get it. And it's funny, too, if you watch a game like that from Jokic, we watch it, we're like, he's kind of going through it. I mean, if you really want to understand, what this game was all about, you look at the energy put forth by Tyrese Maxey.
Right, yeah.
Right. Every time they showed his face, he was, locked in. He was having the best day of his life.
Game 7 of the NBA
Finals.
Finals.
Jokic is like, oh, my God. Just gets it in. Does very workmanlike, just does his business. But okay, so the Philly announcers don't like Nikola Jokic. Very predictable. Mark Jackson comes out and says,
also
Nikola
so
Jokic,
predictable.
Not in his top 5 of MVP candidacy. Not even the best center. Again, Joel Embiid. And the thing they always use to cite why Embiid is better is because of the record.
Right.
Philly has a better record.
Right.
2-game losing streak. Is Joel Embiid's MVP campaign in jeopardy?
I mean, he can't even get on the court tonight.
Can he stay on the court? That's the thing. Yeah, he's out with an injury. Is it serious? We don't know. We don't know if it's a serious injury or not. We do have to talk, though, about Jokic does have a nemesis in this league, and he was on the court tonight, and Dwight Howard. And look, I'm gonna full disclosure. I try to be very objective and unbiased on the show.
Not
even
me.
though I have a bias, I try to step back from that bias, right? Dwight Howard's my least favorite player to ever step on an NBA court.
Whoa.
Can't stand that guy. Cannot stand that guy.
Least favorite ever?
Ever. Of all time. All time.
Whoa.
And it's like, I don't like him as a basketball player before we get to, like, everything else. But tonight, as like, you saw I worry about Jokic against Dwight Howard because, for whatever reason, Jokic just seems to get in foul trouble with that guy because he can't stop getting into those little battles with him, these little things, and for whatever reason, Dwight gets those calls.
Yeah, the comments very much in your corner with this take.
Very much. Oh yeah.
The good news is he'll only have to play Dwight one more time this year.
Yeah, until the finals, but yeah,
until he's traded.
Dwight's gonna get
We'll
traded.
play him another time.
Until he's traded back to Houston.
Dwight Howard. What's the? I mean, honestly, like, let's be honest. Jokic got in foul trouble. This is a part of the story. He had
He's got in foul trouble in what? 3 straight games?
3 straight games.
Yeah. No, for sure. And it's definitely a good sign Dwight Howard is no longer on the Lakers, I think. With Jokic's game tonight, for me, though, he only had 4 turnovers, but they seem pretty loud. And his turnovers have been up, but, like, I don't think 4 is a, like, terrible number for him because he is their point guard. That's how you have to think about him. But and a lot of the turnovers too, just not his fault either.
Yeah.
And people are getting used to him. But
I said this on the last show. I don't care about his turnovers. I know people are gonna make a big deal. There was one game, Sacramento game, that they lost, where I think he had 10, and there were some bad ones at key moments. That was the one game where I cared about his turnovers.
4 is fine. It's he's their point guard.
It's not even the number. I don't even. He could have 8 of them. I don't care.
Well, you also said they were loud. It was because they were all at the same time.
Right.
So it made it look like it was a bad stretch, like he was just going to keep doing it. But also, like you said, he's the point guard. He has the ball most of the time. If the player has the ball a lot and they're taking crazy chances all of the time, you have to expect that there's going to be some turnovers that come with it.
That's what I said. It's like the same with rebounding. Like, Steven Adams never averages a lot of rebounds. But guess what? When he's on the court, his team dominates the rebounds. It's the same with Jokic. He averages a lot of turnovers. But guess what? When he's on the court, the Nuggets as a team don't average a lot of turnovers. So I just don't care. Some of these stats are misleading. What's so funny over here? The giggler.
Oh, I'm watching a different show.
Oh,
no. the comments fucking kill me. So, I mean, I told Dev this earlier when he came in. Like, there's a couple reasons I don't like having him on the show. Number 1, obviously, his personality. Number 2, Dev comes in and he looks so much better than we do every game. He comes up with coordinated Jordans.
Yeah,
he's got
really
an impeccable look. I felt like I was pushing maybe the second best looking guy on here. I'm down to 5th. But your day of reckoning has come. People say you look like Dev from State Farm today with your phone.
Like a good superstar. I like that.
I'll be Dev from State Farm.
You're not going to recover from that.
Oh,
That's a fatality.
God, man. Dev from State Farm, man.
That's harsh, man.
Now you
That's
understand
really
why I
harsh.
couldn't listen when you were whatever you're saying about Dwight Howard. I don't care.
Dwight Howard, a real.
What is it with
POS.
Dwight though? Is it his strength? Is it just like the little tricks that he does to piss off Yoke?
Oh, it's the first of all, it's the complaining about every foul, which lots of guys do. It's all the little things that he does, to do this, and then this refs just for some reason give it to him. Like, I don't like low skill players. And look, this is the same thing with Gobert. I'm not saying they're not good. I'm not saying they're not impactful. I just don't like the way in which they are impactful. And with him, it's so much about just the physicality, the rumbling, and like he just gets the benefit of the doubt on all of these. So that's why I don't like him. Simply.
Yeah, he's also
simply
just like you can boil it down to that. He's just like a jerk.
Yeah. And I also don't like when guys don't do the thing that they're good at. And he's not good at posting up. He likes to post up. He's good at some of the other things he doesn't do them. So I'm allowed to not like people. I don't like Dwight.
It's fine.
Dev's looking at me like this.
Dislike away. Dislike away.
I like Dwight.
You like Dwight?
I've always liked Dwight.
Oh, this is a controversial take.
This is a controversial.
I have another note on Will Barton though.
Okay.
I want to see Will Barton take it to the rim and finish on his drives. Will Barton has one of the lowest field goal percentages this year on drives, shooting like 20% on something on drives to the rim. And we've talked about how he just like doesn't have that same explosion, it seems like, so far this season. I mean, that's how I'll know, I feel like, that he's trending up and getting back to where he was, if he has that confidence to take it hard and finish.
He has said that he expects that he will be better as the season goes on physically.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't know that. Like if you have a knee injury and it's not fully right and you start playing, sometimes it just stops.
Yeah.
But it sounds like, and this injury is such a mystery injury, but it sounds like the expectation for him is as the season goes on, he's going to get better. So, to your point, hopefully it's in the right direction. The other person we're going to talk about here and single out is Jamal Murray.
Oh boy.
Because we've talked about this a lot. He's not trying to do too much. I'll give him that. Because he doesn't look healthy either. We were laughing, not laughing, like a sad laugh, but in the third quarter, the first play of the game, then ball goes out of bounds, and Jamal Murray has his hands on his knees like he's about to fall over, and it's like, wow, it's been 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How are
After
you this
halftime.
tired? He looks exhausted to me.
Yeah, it's troubling. I would say this is a troubling trend that we're witnessing. Part of me wonders if it's more than fitness, like if it's something like what you're talking about, like a nagging knee or something. That's
Right.
like, but he just looks gassed. Like
Yeah.
he just looks gassed, and to me it comes back down to that same idea that we've talked about every time that we have to keep hitting on because it keeps rearing its head. Is that the NBA let off? The Jamal Murray put maximum effort,
really
everything
did.
he had into the bubble. It lets off
Physically and emotionally.
Yeah, you understand exactly like the letdown. He goes back to Canada and he tells you like he just hung out with his brother for
Right.
a month or 3 months or whatever it was, and like he just didn't ramp back up. He ramped down, and like we're just still hanging out there. And so you just hope he can play himself back into shape, and that the Nuggets are able to sort of like just sort of buoy themselves along until we can get a healthy and functioning Michael Porter Jr., a healthy and functioning Jamal Murray, and then Jokic can just be the rock. I mean, it's just the only thing that sucks is that it's so unfair to Nikola Jokic. Like Nikola Jokic came back and he's given us a start like we've never seen him in this league, and it's just if he doesn't show up, like the Nuggets are cooked. There's just no two ways about it. So.
But can he? I mean, so is it you make it? What I'm saying is, it's been so many days, and when the Nuggets fell behind early, what were they 1-3? And Jamal Murray comes out, and all of a sudden he's just like he's playing like he knows how important it was, and that lasted for 3 games, and then now he's back to that. And I'm thinking like maybe it's just not something he can mentally overcome, and maybe he needs to sit out a couple days. Maybe he needs to miss a week. The Nuggets can't really afford it, but
I know.
One of the things that D-Line just said was like how it's unfair to Jokic and how he's came back different. But what you can see is like the motivation is a lot different.
Yeah.
Jokic came back and he wanted to be in shape and prove that he's in shape and he's one of the best players in the world. Jamal Murray in the bubble had a bad playoff experience the year before. So he came back and he wanted to prove that he wasn't going to get bullied in the playoffs and he was going to come back different. We see that Jamal Murray now is completely a different player, and one of the indicators that show you that he's just not aggressive anymore. He didn't go to the free throw line at all today. He hasn't been getting to the rim at all, or even trying to finish in the ways that we've seen in the bubble. So maybe it is a nagging injury or something else that's there, but it's just not the same aggressive Jamal that we see.
He's not even taking wide open
No, I
threes.
noticed
Tonight
this
he passed a
in
lot
the
up.
fourth quarter and in overtime of the Dallas game. He was just, passing up open threes. And then tonight, passed up a bunch of open threes. Didn't even think about shooting it. Like, didn't even think about it. Just whipped the ball around the top of the arc.
No, discombobulated day. The best take on Jamal Murray, I think, of all takes that have ever been said is that legs are the number one thing. That's like really the most important thing. And right now, he does not seem to have the legs. So
Do you think they should give him the night off tomorrow?
So this is what's tough. If you look at this Knicks team, they're playing really well.
5-4.
5-4. They're playing great, and they're also playing great in a way that like they're an annoying team to play right now.
Right. If you play defense like the Nuggets, the Knicks are going to score on you.
They're going to murder you, and they're going to play fast.
How many is Julius Randle going to have tomorrow?
That's a great like. If you think about Dwight Howard getting into his head, and he's going to get in his head, and then also you go back to the Kings, they have players like Rashawn Holmes, who's like a nugget killer. Randall is that on steroids.
Just all emotion.
Wait, are
and,
you
like,
reporting something?
No, I would never. That's Harrison's job. I would never do something like that.
Julius Randle on steroids. You heard it from Dev. He is reporting. I don't know where else. With the players, I don't know how many other guys were interested. There is one note on the Nuggets at large that I want to make. That is, they went zone. And for 2 reasons. One, I think to be effective and because the personnel was so out of whack for the 76ers tonight. But 2, because Denver struggles against this zone, man. And in the first half, and Gary Harris had a quote about this as well after the game about early on they were just getting excited and felt like they had to beat it quickly. And then once you settle down, it's easier to beat. But I have a real concern about the Nuggets because Gary Harris hit threes tonight. Thank God. Paul Millsap can hit him. Jokic can hit him. Murray's the one guy that doesn't really get open. When you're attacking a zone, they like really overload on that. I don't know that Denver has guys. Like if you told me like tonight's game, you're going to have to rely on Will Barton's 3, Gary Harris's 3, Paul Millsap's 3. I'm like, yeah, that's not my number one thing I would choose to rely on, like for Denver. So I'm worried about the zone. Teams have had success, not just them.
It would be great if they had a Seth Curry type.
Yeah.
A Cam Johnson.
Not a specific Seth Curry at this exact moment.
Yeah, not this exact moment.
Yeah.
It's probably best that they don't have him right now.
A type of player. Like
A Michael Porter,
Seth
if you will.
Curry.
Like a Michael Porter type. Yeah.
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 Just that
Dude,
knockdown
it's true.
guy, man.
See, this season is going to be so weird. This is not the first, not the last, not the only 7-player game we're going to see where it's just like what are we doing? But they just like got to get the games through. So.
And every team is kind of going through. You get wrapped up in this bubble of like we're focused on the Nuggets, and they don't look good, guys. We're gonna play rank here after this. We're gonna play rank the best wins of the season.
It's not gonna be a fun game.
It's not gonna be a fun game to play. But if you go through it, like Denver's 4-5 now, which means they're like a half game behind everybody else. Like every team has had these like wild turns. I mean, even within games. Last night I watched the Clippers-Warriors game. Clippers dominating the Warriors. And then the narratives will come out like, okay, the Warriors had a little nice week, but now it's over. Then the Warriors come back and they beat the Clippers. It's like, well, what's wrong with the Clippers? They have a players-only meeting. Like
Steph Curry was a fraud.
Basketball.
Now he's the best player in the league.
He might be the best player in the league. I saw that take on the timeline last night,
It
and I'm like,
reversed
wow.
in a week.
So this might
Basketball
just
is
be
a game of runs.
Yeah, but this year in particular, I do feel like everybody is discombobulated.
It's
As
true.
discombobulated
Yeah,
as we are. Is there any other players that we need to mention tonight or anywhere else we need to go?
So I said this on the show a couple games ago, but Monte Morris is having an underrated season still.
He is. Yeah.
5 of 10 tonight, 12 points. I feel like he's finishing around the rim really well. Just feel like he's gotten better there. So I thought he was notable. And then another point about Barton and Gary Harris. You know how we always talk about Jamal Murray as the Nuggets swing player? At least last year. He's like, oh, Jamal Murray's the biggest swing player in the league. When he is playing to his best,
true, man.
the Nuggets are arguably the best team in the league. When he's not, the Nuggets are just a very good but not a great team. I still think that player is Jamal Murray. He's still Nuggets' biggest swing player, but Gary Harris and Will Barton are huge swing players, I think, for Denver this season too, more so than last. Like, when they're really good, Denver, that's another just pathway Denver has to being an elite team. When they're bad, Denver is a really good team, but, they're still just missing some of those complementary pieces, I feel like. Michael Porter Jr. being out,
he's the
spotlight that.
If you talk about swing players, Jokic
He scored 30 points the game before he went out, Michael Porter Jr.
Yeah. Jokic to me is still like his bad games now at the level he's at. His bad games are like B+ superstar games, right?
Yep.
Like I mean, his worst is really high, so he's steady. Jamal Murray to me is that swing player because I as much as I want to agree with you, Gary Harris can have a good night and Denver loses to good teams. Jamal Murray and Jokic both have a good night. Like they're competitive no matter what the game is. Like that's 90% of the battle is those two guys. Michael Porter right there with you. If Jokic and Porter are having a great night, it could be the same thing. And if you got all three of them, it feels like Gary Harris, Barton, Millsap could all go 0 for 1,000 and they're still going to win.
Yeah.
So
I still think it's Murray. It's just that I think I might have personally just like overrated the talent on this team a little bit, top to bottom, like in terms of a Gary and in terms of a Will, and maybe in terms of Paul a little bit this year.
Yeah.
And one of the things that was supposed to make Denver so great was its depth too.
Yeah. So. All right, so Denver now goes to 4-5 on the season, almost to 500. We can get to 500 tomorrow, baby. We can get there. We can get there.
The quest for 500.
The quest for 500. But if they do, and we're doing ad-free, by the way, Kale, I saw your note. But so if we get to so if we look at this now, 4 wins. They've got Houston. When Houston had no John Wall, no DeMarcus Cousins.
Right.
And James Harden, who had just arrived from the club. First, with no practice, he just arrived. That's the team they beat. Then you get Sacramento twice. We thought, is Sacramento good? They're not. In fact, it's been proven.
Did
Did we
than
really
Nuggets.
think Sacramento
Well,
was
it was
good,
early.
guys?
You thought
Come
maybe they're
on.
the surprise. They're the whatever. And then you get this one against Dakota. What was his name again? Dakota Mathias. You get Dakota, my guy Paul Reed, Isaiah Joe.
Yeah.
So let's rank them. Dev, rank these games for me from best win to worst win on the season.
I think that their best win would be against the Sacramento Kings.
Which one?
The best win would be against
Wait,
the
they
Houston
didn't beat
Rockets.
they didn't beat the Sacramento
they didn't
Kings. Hold
beat
on.
the
Hold on.
Sacramento
Yeah,
Kings.
the
They
Houston
were-
Rockets. Sorry, I'll go against the Houston
yeah,
Rockets. The reason I say Houston Rockets is because they still have a superstar. Even when he came from the club, I mean, he's already been playing from
And
the
he
club.
went off. He had like 30 at the half.
It wasn't like this was like his first time going to the club and playing. Like
so true.
that was
He's
new.
been
Like,
there, done that.
that was him in his
pro's pro.
comfortable James Harden.
That's true.
So I would go that one. I think that I'm just gonna skip the other two. The one that didn't matter that much was the one that we just seen. I mean, we don't.
Yeah.
We know Danny Green. That's it. That is it. Tyrese Maxey, he's a good player. We seen him in college, but we don't know how he is as an NBA player. We know Danny Green, and that was it from tonight. And then Dwight Howard, who you love. So I would think that's how I would have to rank it.
I love how offended. He's genuinely offended by me hating Dwight Howard. But I
love
do.
it.
I hate him.
We need some
I
more
hate him.
conflict on this show. I hope Dwight Howard is the
Dwight
source
Howard
of
is
this.
He wouldn't be the one. He wouldn't be the one.
You're not going to stand up and cape for him. You'll be like,
it
you'll
would have
just
to
let
be
the
like
slander happen.
OJ Mayo or
OJ Mayo, your guy, or
Whoa.
Derrick Rose.
Derrick Rose.
Yeah.
OJ
something like
Mayo.
That's probably a DeRozan guy, right?
I love the
No,
OJ
no.
Mayo
No?
take, though.
No. I like DeRozan because he's from Compton and people
I like him this
forget
year.
about that. I think that's something that I like, but not him.
So any player from Compton?
I like the OJ Mayo take, though. No, I actually like this because OJ Mayo was actually really freaking dope in high school.
So good.
He was so good. Like, he was a guy that he just had his career didn't go the way it could have. I could see that there's an alternative universe where OJ Mayo was like,
Do people ever,
awesome.
Do people ever call him sweet and smooth? OJ and Mayo?
no. Is mayo smooth? Do you ever eat some mayo and you go, "Ooh, so smooth"?
Is Mayo not smooth?
Yeah, it has to be
I mean,
smooth.
it's not rough. It's not
It
rough.
can be rough.
I'm
Has
losing
Adam
this
ever
battle,
had
and I'm
mayo?
so surprised that I'm losing this battle on mayonnaise.
Let's get back to the ranking.
Yeah, let's get back. Harrison, rank for me the four games so far.
I mean, obviously Houston's won. Clearly won. Their best
It's so
win.
sad that that's clearly
I
one
know.
because that was a not great win.
I know. And then I'll say Minnesota on the road, Minnesota at home. And this game, the only thing that could bump this game up a little bit is just the circumstances. You know, there were crazy circumstances heading into this game.
Yeah.
They don't know who's playing on Philly. They don't know if the game's going to be played. All this coronavirus stuff's going on throughout the league. A lot of crazy circumstances this week. So that's the only thing that could bump it up a little.
Are you in the same? Are you on this
Man,
as
what
well?
a depressing question.
I know,
Like,
it's
we
not
either
great.
have two deeply compromised teams or another team that was deeply compromised.
They're all deeply compromised. To give you some perspective here, the Wolves, they had Karl Anthony Towns, then they lost him. Since then, they've lost by an average of 20 points per game.
By far the worst team in
By
the league.
far, like, I
It's-
think, yeah.
It's not even a discussion.
No, so if you look at how much, like, your overall plus minus, not your net rating, this is like how much you win or lose by, they have lost by an average of 20. The next worst is the Kings. The Kings, who have lost by an average of 9. So they have lost by more than double what the second worst team has over that same
So
span.
wait, so our consensus best win of the game or of the season is a 9-player Rockets team.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Clearly.
Let's go, baby.
Not even a discussion.
Let's go.
Nuggets still in need. You know what's sad is if they get that win at the Knicks tomorrow night,
Might be the
win
best
of the
win.
season. Oh, easily the best win of the season. Are you
Easily.
kidding?
It's not close.
Easily the best win of the season. Should they be able to grab it? So a lot of stakes here on the table. Should we go to a Stonk report?
Yeah, it's time, dude.
It's time. We're 9 games in. Let's take a look. We're more than 1/7 the way through the season. Let's go through the Stonk.
Ooh, time to check that old Stonk portfolio.
All right, let's remind the audience of who it is.
All right, here. Let's look at the ratings here. You can either sell your
sir.
Stonk.
Yeah.
You can sell your Stonk.
Wait and
you can
see.
wait and see. Okay, you might have to wait and see.
Tempered.
You can buy now.
Buy now.
All right. And then let's go.
Whoa.
Let's go.
This is a Bitcoin status.
It's a big win status.
Can I ask why you made the fire on top of this?
Because I work under pressure. I don't know. It's orange. It's orange.
All right, let's start with our first player. It's Nikola Jokic. We're start from where we had the start of the season to where we are now. Harrison, what are we going with?
Oh, I'm buying.
I don't know why we have the up.
I'm
'cause
going
we
to
have
be buying for the entire season.
Yeah, buy now.
I don't care what the price is.
Yeah,
I'm going to
yeah.
keep buying.
Well, wait, that's not. Oh, buy now. That's not that high. That's right. Okay, you're buying. You're cautiously buying. That's like a.
That's a Harrison take. That's
Yeah,
the
yeah, that's a,
perfect
that's a
I'm buying
pragmatic.
now.
A pragmatic take. He's not.
Let's not lose
He's
our
not
minds.
mortgaging the future. He's not mortgaging the farm. He's not doing all that.
His
He's
stock
just.
is so high already.
It's a hot stock.
It's
Very
hot.
stock.
Yeah. Everybody
It's a
knows
It's a
about
hot
it.
stonk. Very hot
Okay.
stonk.
Blue chip.
What do you think, Dev?
I'm all in.
Oh,
I'm all in.
let's go.
Nikola Jokic.
Let's go.
Let's go. And the reason for that is because we haven't even seen like a motivated Nikola Jokic. The only time we see it is if he gets whacked on a call, like on a play, or if he doesn't get a call that goes his way. Then we're like, okay, Jokic is going to just have a good next few possessions or whatever. But we haven't even seen Jokic at his best yet. So I'm going to buy. I mean, I'm all in. I'm all in.
Woo.
Eric?
I'm going to go with a very handsome Harrison Wind.
Oh, thank you.
Signifying, let's go. Let's go.
Guys, it pains me to say this.
Oh,
I
no.
am merely at a buy now.
What?
Merely at a buy now.
Oh, like me.
And here's why. He's playing 36 minutes per game right now. It's been he's playing incredible. A++, best basketball of his career. We're 9 games in. They're relying on him for 36 minutes, and I worry that Jamal Murray might need to take a break. He might have to go up to 38 minutes a game for a while just to keep the ship steady. So as much as I'm all in on Jokic, it's early for him to be pressing this hard, and that gives me a little bit of trepidation.
Just so everyone understands, Adam's a little older in life. His Stonk portfolio.
It's very diversified.
Well, but just your
Extremely
strategy. You're thinking about the end here. You don't want to press the gas too hard.
I'm looking for retirement. I'm not trying to buy a Ferrari, right? Like I'm playing the long game.
Isn't it interesting that we're worried about Jamal Murray's fatigue right now? But I have zero concerns about Jokic like breaking down this season, even if he has to carry a big load.
I don't know, man. I'm going to push back on that. I think Jokic looks tired. I do, man. Tonight,
Really?
Yeah, I do. And tonight, he only shot 6 of 8, jogged up and down the court. He's all he's needed. He's smart. He knows how to load manage on the court.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter because it's still a thing that I don't think he has 100% reserves in the tank. And at 9 games in, you would hope a player that's fully healthy has 100% reserves in.
I think that it's just that he can do. His game does not require high levels of effort. Period. Like I think that's it. Like Jamal Murray, if he's not pushing the gas and like running around guys getting open and like shooting with like frantic rhythm, like he doesn't have anything to offer. It seems. But Jokic is plodding, methodical. And he doesn't have to do those things. Like, he's not there to impress the announcers from the Philadelphia 76ers. Like, he's out to just, like, do what needs to happen to win games. So, if you don't buy now and fire Adam as your Stonk's portfolio management, like, I don't know what you're doing.
Also, to Harrison's point, the stock is at a pretty big high. Like, let's talk about it. Triple-double average. Right now, he's doing it. Tonight, I'm not worried about his rebounds because I feel like if it got close, if there's 10 games left and he needed to average like 12 rebounds, he'll freaking grab 20 rebounds a game to make sure. But the assist numbers, he gets 12 again tonight. His number is going to go up. He's just so comfortably above 10. Do you think he's going to do it this year?
I say yes. Right now, if you look at it, they have the easiest schedule in the league. So that means that he hasn't had to play every single minute. Yeah. There's going to be a lot of good teams that they're about to play that he's going to have to put in more time. He's going to have to put in more minutes. They're going to need him at all times on the court, and he's going to have to do extra. Yeah. So he's going to get the rebounds. He's going to get the assists. He's going to have to take over in scoring if no one else helps him. Yeah. So I think that that's something that he will do.
All right.
I think yes.
Jamal Murray, Stonk report. Where are we going to go? Who should I start with? Eric, I'll start with you this time.
I'm going to go with a still handsome but upside down Harrison Wind.
This is like tarot.
this is the
upside down wind. Yeah. The reverse wind.
Reverse.
I didn't really get how that whole thing worked in the tarot cards when it was upside down.
Suck, I think.
So with Jamal Murray, it's handsome, but it could be better. I'm actually gonna sell. You're gonna wait and see. Wait and see.
You're gonna wait and see.
I forgot the nomenclature that I came up with.
Wait and see. Harrison, what do you think?
Let's go!
Whoa! What?
He was so pragmatic about Jokic, who's averaging 26, 12, and 12, but Murray, who looks like he can barely run up and down the court, you're a let's go. Not a let's buy. A let's go. Oh, I can't wait.
Just saying, stock's pretty low right now.
Is that
a great time to buy.
Yeah, Harrison's got a strategy
I think what we're learning is that this game doesn't make as much sense as we'd hope it would.
No,
because I don't even know what that means.
It's almost as though this game is nonsensical in every way.
So you're saying he's going to be better going forward than he's been right now?
I think so. Okay. I think so. Look, we know he's looked a little tired, but there's also part of me that wouldn't be shocked if he just had a huge game against the Knicks,
At the Garden.
I still think he's capable of just pulling those games out of nowhere.
Nobody there.
Yeah. I think the minutes load is concerning. Overall, I'm not super worried though.
What do you think, Dev?
I am going to buy.
I'm buying too. Just to be clear, I'm not unloading Murray stock.
I'm going to buy. And the reason for that is because as bad as we think Murray has been, he hasn't been horrible.
Oh, he hasn't been bad.
Jamal Murray is averaging career numbers.
He hasn't been bad.
He's averaging 4 more points per game than he was last year.
He's been great, and that's him not even close to good Jamal Murray. Though. Like, he's not shooting the ball or even trying to shoot the ball the same.
But this is his own fault. He raised his own bar to a point where disappointment is when reality does not meet expectation. He set our expectations so high, and he's merely having career numbers.
Yeah. It's a little bit true. He is averaging just 16 points over the last 3, and I think the last 3 are where we've seen him kind of hit that wall. I'm wait and see, guys. I'm not selling my stock yet, but I'm wait and see because I think that he might need to take a week off. I think there might be a scenario where if Denver can steady the ship and get to be a game or two above 500 when Michael Porter returns to the lineup 14 days from now or whatever, 10 days, 8 days, whatever it is from now, I could see a scenario where Murray takes 2 games off, and maybe that's the thing it takes to get him right. But
I got to say this, too. Like, I'm a noted Michael Malone stan, and so you can throw out whatever I'm about to say if you'd like. But Michael Malone's, I believe, his coaching strategy where he's the strongest is the long view. Right?
Yeah,
like,
I agree with that.
I don't believe he is
take.
managing these games in a vacuum. I believe he's thinking about, like, all right, like the way we're talking about it, like, okay, if we can get to 500, we can sort of buoy. I don't have to use my players this way. It's like he's not great, like, with in-game management. It gets frustrating because he's the wrong guy is guarding the wrong guy for too long. But, like, he 1,000% understands the large view of basketball, which is something I really respect because I think it's rare.
Yeah, for sure. All right, next one I have, most interesting one, Michael Porter Jr. Ooh. Harrison, you have to start us off on this one.
I'm waiting and seeing. Wait and see. Definitely not buying. Not selling, though. Look, man, it's going to be – this is a huge kind of roadblock in Porter's season, I feel like. When this is all said and done, he's going to have missed, 10 games?
Yeah.
It's a huge chunk of games in a 72-game season.
I don't know if it'll be 10.
We also don't know what he's going to be like when he comes back.
Yeah.
Such a good point. You guys are – I don't like this.
So I'm in wait-and-see mode. It's tough, man. Like, we already have spent so much energy talking about how implementing him alongside Jokic and Murray was going to be this season-long process. We knew it was going to take time, as evident by the first 4 games of the season. It's definitely going to take a long time. And this just holds up that process. And doing that even after taking 10 games off, that's even harder than doing it after, you had a preseason and a training camp. So I'm wait and see.
Dev?
I'm certainly wait and see. If you think back to last year in the bubble, Michael Porter Jr. looked really, really good, and then he twisted his ankle, and then he comes back and he doesn't look the same. We just don't know how he'll look when he does come back.
Yeah.
We know that there is a lot of upside with him, but also what we're seeing is the team is trying to find ways and trying to work around it. Now you have to implement him back into the lineup. I don't know how that's going to look or how that's going to be for Malone, who's been coaching a specific way without him there. Now you put this offense back into it, or a guy that you want to try to build around. It's like, I don't know what's going to happen.
What do you think, Eric?
I'm thinking a very handsome buy now.
By now.
People are out on Michael Porter Jr., and Michael Porter Jr. is just sitting back and reading all of these things. He's going to come back and, like...
He's definitely reading.
And the thing is that Michael Porter Jr., is a self-starter. He can go up and doesn't need to have Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray pass him the ball. He can have an exquisitely covered three-point shot that there's no business he should be taking and can it in somebody's eye in the biggest moment in the Clippers series. He's that kind of player, right? He's going to come back and, be hungry to prove himself because the doubters are out. Harrison's waiting and seeing. Dev's waiting and seeing.
I'm not saying I'm doubting him. Just waiting and seeing.
MPJ, listen. We got this, bro.
He's not going to like you more.
I don't know. Oh, just to be clear, I'm very aware he does not like me at all.
I'm gonna go ahead and buy a little. I'm gonna buy now. The stock's really low.
Yeah,
so the bad stop is a bad. Stock's really low. Now I will say, I'm gonna say this. We don't know. First of all, we don't know if he has COVID or not. We don't know if he does have COVID. Is it mild? There's nothing wrong. Remember, Presumably, he had it going into the bubble. He came into the bubble and scored 37 points or whatever. Like, I could see a repeat of that. But more to the point, Michael Porter looked his best last year when he got a lot of minutes. He came into the lineup, had, I think, a real monster game, like one of his first starts or whatever. It took a couple games, and then once he got the consistent minutes, it was like every night he was playing great. I think when he comes back in, I think he had a rocky start. I think the Nuggets as a team had a rocky start. I think the Nuggets as a team will be hopefully in better position to cover for him defensively while he learns what's going on defense. But I still trust the talent. So stock's really low. I'm going to buy. All right, Gary Harris.
Ooh. Start with me.
Yeah.
All right.
First off, you're stonkless when it comes to Gary Harris. You sold all of your Harris stock in the preseason.
I'm gonna sell more.
He's gonna short the stock. He's shorting the stock. Oh my god!
What are you
That
selling?
I don't have, I'm gonna go more down on that. This is a great time for me to sell the stock I don't have. Like he just came off of that was basically a career game for him.
That really was.
Like that was
the stock bounced up to 1 cent. And you're like, sell, get rid of it.
Sell it now. Until you start seeing it at a more consistent basis. Like I don't hate Gary Harris. I think that he brings a lot of things that the Nuggets need. But also what they really, really need is a person that could consistently make the 3-point shot. Tonight we've seen that he made the 3-point shot. I don't know if he's going to be able to shoot like that again. Hopefully he does, but it won't be something that I have to have in my pockets because I'm selling my stock.
All right.
I'll wait and see.
Okay.
I'm definitely not buying. Definitely not buying after one game.
Right.
But it probably doesn't make that much sense to sell.
Frankly, if you are buying, make sure there's something in the box. Like Dev is selling something that's empty.
Yeah.
He has no stocks.
I know Dev has a lot of Gary Harris stocks, so maybe it makes sense for him to sell. I have less. So.
All right. So you're just gonna wait and see.
Yeah,
what do you think?
I'm gonna wait and see. I mean, here's the thing: Gary Harris, not a rookie, right? We've seen positive things from Gary Harris and on a consistent level at times in his career. He looks bad this year up until today. Maybe this is the turnaround. I'm going to wait, and I'm going to see.
I'm going to also wait and see, in large part because I don't know what selling would mean at this point. It really does it's really just give up, I think is really what we would say at this point.
Cash out when you can.
Here's an interesting question for you guys. Let's say Gary Harris shoots 40% from 3 over the next 10 games.
Okay.
Denver's 500. Do they trade Gary? I mean, do you just wait for the first moment of his value to maybe show that little bit of life and move on? Or do you think to yourself, well, hey, he's back now. We got our 3-and-D guy.
You get it out of there. You just you hope for the stock to sell, to actually build so that you could get rid of it. Because you know that there's going to be a time that he's not making shots again. And he's also not playing great defense as a 3-and-D guy.
Yeah, I'd probably look to sell then too. And it pains me to say it. Really pains me to say it. But that would probably be the smart thing to do.
We're waiting for one rally. What about you?
I already said I said wait and see.
But I'm saying a trade. I know you wait and see, but the stock goes up. Then do you sell? Then are you moving on?
Well, I got to see what I got. That's the wait and see part. I don't know.
This is when D-Line. We realized D-Line was watching actually another show over the last 5 minutes.
I was locked in on the comments. I'm not gonna. I'll shoot you straight here, bro. I thought after I gave my answer, I was off the hook.
All right, last one for you guys. Last one for you. The bench. Really bad to start. Gotten a little bit better. I guess I have to start with you this time, Eric.
The bench. I'm going to sell the bench.
Oh, no.
I'm going to sell the entire bench, including what they're sitting on, the physical bench. Every part of the bench is.
So you don't think the Nuggets are going to solve their bench problem?
Here's what I know is that the Nuggets played a game against a 76ers team that had 7 players, most of which was their bench, all of which was their bench.
All of them.
And Isaiah Hartenstein played 5 minutes up until the fourth quarter, until garbage
time.
You're right. If we cannot count on our bench unit to spell our most important asset in Nikola Jokic, what are we doing? What is this? Campasso comes in, he shoots a few threes. He did all right.
He was good tonight, I thought.
He was good. Maybe I'll keep a little sidecar for Campasso on my bench, but. Man, I gotta see something here, man, because it's coming down to where things are looking a little dire for the Nuggets, and I'm not seeing a lot of improvement.
Dev?
Sorry, Dev. Sorry.
I'm This guy, I can't believe he sold that. I'm going to sell with him.
You guys are so
I'm going to sell with him.
Guys, you're not optimistic about the Nuggets right now.
No, I have to sell with them.
Wow.
Like, I don't know what we thought was good with the bench. Monte Morris is
He's good.
the bright
Yeah, he's
spot
really
on the
good.
bench, and it's only one bright spot. It follows him. Like, and then the worst part about the bench is when the guys that we really, really, really want to see, R.J. Hampton, Marcus Howard, Bo Bol, and those guys get in, then it was even worse. That had to be the bench unit because the starters were playing against a bench today, and they did okay. But then the bench came in, and it was even worse. They all went a -8. There was a backdoor cover in the game because they couldn't do anything.
Well, now we know where it really pisses them off.
We were joking.
I didn't bet on that.
We were joking earlier, like, what entity has had the biggest fall from grace? Was it Enron in the 90s or Bol Bol? Which stock fell so quickly?
Bol tonight, guys.
So quickly.
Bol tonight. 0 points on 0 shots, 0 rebounds, 0. Oh wait.
No, it was all zeros.
0 assists, 0 steals, 0 blocks, -8. Like, it was only 2 minutes. Like, there wasn't a lot for him to go out there. Although somehow Zeke Naji got up 3 shots in his 2 minutes.
I love it.
Good for Zeke.
That's somebody. That's a bright spot on the bench.
Poor Bol Bol.
true.
All right, Harrison.
I'm surprised.
Me
I'm
too.
surprised. Guys, the bench is trending up.
Oh,
I love it.
The bench has been
They don't know how to
better
read the market,
since
Harrison.
JaMychal Green got back in the lineup. And JaMychal Green has been great. I mean, he has been incredible off the bench.
Yeah.
I think they'll find I don't think the bench is going to be incredible.
What are you doing though?
What's the second one? Buy now?
Yeah, buy now.
I'm buying.
Wait and see the second.
No. The one up from that. I'm buying now. Yeah. I'm buying now.
Harrison is officially bullish on the bench.
Dude, they've been trending up. What are you guys talking about? They've been better over these last few games. JaMychal Green's solid. I hope they play Hard Rock more. I hope they play Hartenstein more. Hartenstein.
Also,
I don't even know.
one bright spot, one positive to see though also is when Michael Porter Jr. comes back, he's gonna most likely start on the bench as well.
I think so. I think he will.
You think?
So you have Monte Morris, you have
Campazzo, I hope.
you have Campazzo, you have you have
Yeah, look, it's so hard to even think about what the lineup is.
I'm so
This
in
is
my
part of the
head about
problem.
how to pronounce that name right now.
Yeah,
Like,
you
I
are.
can't even get it out.
You've ruined me. I'm getting flamed for it.
I'm so in my head about
So
it.
easy, Stein.
Yeah, and then you
I
have
don't think it's,
JaMychal
but
Green.
I feel like
Wouldn't be
the
horrible.
Stein part is a little exciting.
It's not. Ask a German.
Hartenstein. Yeah, but
It's like German 9.
We're not
Stein.
speaking in German. It's Hartenstein.
I agree. Here's the problem, and Dev actually highlighted. And by the way, I'm a buy now because I agree with Harrison. It's trending up. And for the record, it was really low. This was the penny stock that I'm getting because I think it can go all the way up to a nickel. But he started to go like the bench unit. You got Monte. You got. Is it Dozier, Campazzo? Like, ooh, that's tough. Actually, I don't know. You start to try to put these out there, and you're like, yeah, they just don't. The combos don't necessarily make sense.
Yeah.
But here's why I'm up, because I do think they're going to arrive on a combo, and I hate to say it. I think my boy PJ Dozier might be out. I think he might be out.
What does out mean?
I think that your best lineups might include Monte. They might include Campazzo, Michael Porter when he comes back, at least for a few games.
I'd be stunned.
And then I think you get JaMychal Green, and then I think you get one of Dozier or Hartenstein based on whether you want to play big or small.
Can I throw a name out here?
Okay.
Like I always do.
Yeah.
Greg Whittington.
Oh yeah, Greg Whittington could come back. He could have changed the whole game for everybody. Although
Is
at this
he
point,
real?
Is he a real person? Do we know if he's a real person?
Oh, so
Why
there's
do
no
you
way
love
he's in shape.
Why do you love him so much?
Because I see him as like a Torrey Craig replacement in that like he'll bring defense and not look for his shot. And the bench is just so bad on defense. And like PJ Dozier is always looking for his shot. Right? Like, so I want
PJ Dozier's killing me, man. We were
Mike
talking
Malone's
about
adopted son, PJ
we
Dozier.
need to talk about this because a lot of people. You had the great line when we were watching this that Dozier is what people think Barton is. He's like another Barton.
Yeah.
In that he does so many things really well. And I believe this about Barton too. Like, that's why I've been a big Barton guy. He does so many things well. But he does so many things he just shouldn't do.
Yeah.
And even tonight you saw, like, there's times, and we even call it out live, we'll be like, oh, God, here goes Dozier. He's about to do something dumb. Because he gets that look. Like,
They
where
had
it's like,
a
oh, I'm going to.
4-on-1 or a 4-on-2 today, and it ended in a PJ Dozier like contested layup where he got fouled, but still, like could have gotten an open 3 out of that. Could have gotten a layup.
Yeah. And so I worry about him a little bit, especially because I do think, look, as the Argentines are screaming in our mentions, Campazzo, when he's played, they've won. And I don't think that correlation, is necessarily perfect, but I do think that there's something to find 5 guys that know what their role is and can execute that role. And I think Campazzo is a guy, look, his role, the ball's going to have to be in his hands. But I think that he can execute a role without stepping outside the boundary lines. And I don't think you can say that of Michael Porter, Will Barton, P.J. Dozier, even Isaiah Hartenstein. Like, there's a lot of guys right now that don't quite know where their parameters are to their game. And Campazzo's one that does. And I just value that so much.
Yeah. Campazzo does that. Greg Whittington, I imagine.
Maybe. We don't know. What if he's going to come in and just start chucking? He's just a chucker. Not a defensive player at all.
We're like, Whittington was another 0 of 19.
19. All right. Well, I guess that does it. Any other notes from this game? We're back tomorrow, guys. We're back really quick.
Back tomorrow. I got to get a DraftKings pick in the week here.
Oh, can you give us a DraftKings pick of the week?
I would love to give you a DraftKings pick of the week.
Can't wait.
I'm gonna go.
I thought you would have a little prep. I love when he does this important thing.
Is it only Randall?
They have 20 big men.
Yeah,
Mitchell Robinson, Julius
who will
Randle,
Nikola Jokic be contending against for rebounds?
Your boy Obi Toppin, right?
Oh, my boy?
He's hurt.
Your boy.
My boy?
He's out.
Yeah, he's out.
My boy?
That is your boy.
Yeah, do we... Jokic points are very safe bet at this point. But
Yes, Jokic points.
Jokic
over,
rebounds,
I think.
depending upon the matchup, have been...
Julius Randle gives fits to Millsap, man. Remember, he took Millsap out. He's like, him and Millsap look like the same body, but somehow Randall's like 3 times stronger.
Yeah.
Physically.
Yeah,
that guy's a beast, man.
Also, if you're making
He's having a career year.
If you're making any bet in the DraftKings universe that is not the Nuggets game, parlay that with Nikola Jokic to get a double-double. It's just like adding
it's like free money.
a coupon on top of it.
Yeah. He had it in like almost at halftime.
Yeah. So I'll go points. I'll go Nikola Jokic over in points tomorrow against the Knicks.
That's what you're
DraftKings
taking?
pick of the week. Yeah.
That's your DraftKings pick of the week.
Yeah.
Pick of the week.
A second night of a back-to-back. Thank you guys, everybody who tuned in today. Don't forget, we will be back again tomorrow. You can watch the game at the DNVR Bar. But I do have to RSVP. We have to RSVP because we can only allow like 4 parties into the bar.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a little fluid, the situation.
A little fluid.
Yeah, we can have 38
Life
people.
is a little fluid right now.
We are contending with football a little bit. It's not a terrible idea. You can always go to thednvr.com, even if you're not a member, and check out the events page. It'll show, if an RSVP is required, if it's an official watch party, or if it's just a game to come and chill with your bros, as it were. So,
and of course, don't forget, hit that little like button, guys.
Like us, dude.
Smash it. Hit it.
Like us. Share this with your friends. We'll see everybody tomorrow. We'll see everybody tomorrow.
We're not leaving. We'll be here the whole time.